I think she went to Team USA and said, please, I just need 3 months. I need whatever the month is. Can I just give it off? Can I just, mentally reset? Can I just do that? And Team USA was like, sure, why not?
Greetings and salutations and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with us today on this Wind Up Wednesday edition, Captain for Life, Will Cotton. Will, NBA Finals are here. How you doing, man?
I'm ready. As you see, I'm ready. Let's get into it.
And our favorite team leader, Mike King. Mike, thank you for being here. How are you, sir?
Doing well.
All right. So in segment one, we're going to do the NBA Finals recap. We're going to just talk about both teams because it's possibly the longest NBA Finals in the history of the NBA. In segment two, we're going to take a deep dive on Dan Hurley and talk about the coaching aspect of it. And in segment three, we got a lot to talk about in women's basketball, a little Olympics, a little Caitlin, a little Stephen A. But let's get started with the NBA Finals recap. So, panelists, we're going to share our thoughts on the series. Let me throw some names at you, and then I'll start with you. We got Boston, Jason Tatum. We got Jaylen Brown. We got Kristaps Porzingis. We got old man Al Horford, Derek White, and Jrue Holiday. On Dallas, you got Luka, you got Kyrie, you got PJ Washington, Derek Lively. Will, after game one, how do you think the series is going to go? Any changes to your initial prediction?
It's going to be difficult for Dallas. Luka's going to be Luka. But when you have Jrue Holiday, who's just going to stay on Kyrie Irving the whole game with hey, we don't need you to score. We don't need you to pass. We just need you to guard this man and contain him. He was able to do. And then the one thing I was worried about was Porzingis was going to come in and still be a little hurt, because that would be the one place I thought Dallas would have the advantage, because they have young bigs and they can jump. They're very physical. But that dude is healthy. That dude is 100%, and he's hitting threes. So Dallas need to figure something out, because that dude is the key. And if he's playing 20 and he's hitting threes and dunking and walking down the lane and hanging on the rim, it's going to be a very short and a long series for the Mavericks.
Hey, Mike, what are you thinking, sir?
Thinking I wish Dallas shot threes like this last series. That would have been nice. If they're going to get 20 quality minutes from Porzingis and Horford could play 30, and that's not a weakness, the center position is not a weakness, I don't see how Dallas can win, because that was the X factor in the Thunder series. They got all that production out of the center spot. That was unexpected, because you know what you're going to get from the other guys. Celtics won big, and they had Pritchard was 0 for 7, missed 5 threes. Tatum was 6 for 16, which he could do better. I think they left stuff out there, and they blew them out. So it's going to be tough for Dallas.
Yeah. So for me, I've always said throughout the year, we joked all year, Boston's clearly the best team in the East. It was not an issue. So whether those teams were healthy or not, Boston was clearly the better team. Kristaps Porzingis does bring a 7-footer who can hit threes. That's always going to be beneficial. What I want to ask Will, though, is you've got a dynamic here that you have a unique perspective on. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Nobody's life goal is to be Robin. And Jason Kidd recently said that Jaylen Brown is the best player. Jaylen Brown won the Eastern Conference MVP, and Jason Tatum may press a little bit. Based on your experience, sir, what do you think about that dynamic? Because I really wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
The dynamic just has to work for them. If they're comfortable with deferring to each other, or if people are saying, hey, Jaylen Brown is the better player, and Tatum is like, hey, cool, I'm going to get mine, he don't get his. That's the relationship that's going to win the championship. You know, if you're not fighting over who's going to get the ball, who's going to take the last shot, or who's running the offense, it takes a lot of pressure off the coach because the coach just has to say, okay, well, I need to put people in the game. That's all I need to do: manage fouls, argue at refs when they have bad calls. I don't have to worry about that. Now, if you had, Brown and Tatum are going back saying, no, I'm the man, I need to be shooting, I'm the guy, then you're going to have those unbalanced problems that you have, especially with the rosters, or not the roster, I'm sorry, the lineups. But if they can live together and play together, then it makes the whole lineup easier. It makes the plays easier. I'm gonna run this for Jalen this time. I'm gonna run this for Jason. It just becomes an easier game because you're not fighting the nonsense, the noise, like you like to say, Coach. You don't like to fight the noise. So it seems like everyone is in tune with their roles and they're moving forward, man. There's no argument. And it's been the whole season, too. You haven't really heard anybody saying, like, I'm not getting enough shots, or I need more touches, or I need to run this, or I need the offense, or I need to run this set down here. So it looks like, most importantly, the relationship between Jalen and Jason are money and money. They're good right now. So that's going to be even harder because those dudes are amazing, especially if Tatum is taking the back seat and that dude can drop 35 on a quiet night. It's sky's the limit.
Okay. Mike, I do want to ask you, Dallas, Luka, Kyrie. Luka only had 1 assist in game 1. Cannot imagine that that's going to happen throughout the series. Kyrie had a bad shooting night because those are shots he normally took that usually go in. Do you think Dallas still has a chance, or this is Boston series to lose?
Yeah, I think both. I think it's Boston series to lose. Dallas isn't. They're not out of it. They're professionals. They got 2 superstars, but Boston's better. So can they win? Yes. Will they win? Probably not.
Okay. All right. So fans, when we get back, college coach possibly heading to the NBA. We have to talk about it the way the Odd Coaches do. Be right back on the Odd Coaches podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Folarin Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast. And in segment 2, Danny Hurley is possibly, by the time this airs, maybe the Lakers head coach. Let me talk a little bit about that. So Danny Hurley is in Southern California meeting with the Lakers brass of Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss. Was quite surprised to hear about the pursuit of Danny Hurley, as everyone, including our show last week, talked about JJ Redick. Danny Hurley has not made a decision at the time of this taping, but the Lakers have him as their priority. Danny Hurley is 51. UConn has won back-to-back NCAA titles, and including a record 12 straight double-digit tournament victories. Not even the legendary John Wooden did that. Got to talk a little bit about this and then give it to the panel. The possibility of UConn winning a 3rd straight title is an elixir for anybody, including Danny Hurley. They've got players coming back. College coaches have not blown away the NBA, but you have had successful college coaches. He's got to change his sideline antics. But the NBA provides roster stability. I know how many guys are on contract. I know who's potentially coming back. And a lot of times, college guys tell me that the first time that a kid has to stay somewhere is when they get to the NBA, if they're fortunate enough to do that. Because in high school, they go from school to school. College, they go from school to school. And in the NBA, you got a 3, 4, 5 year contract, can't leave. Okay. NIL is hard. My God, NIL is hard. But NIL is manageable. But the grind is different. College fan base expectations are ridiculous. So sometimes you just don't want to mess with that. Pro fan bases are ridiculous. LA is LA, but college fan bases are ridiculous. California ain't Connecticut. Yeah. California ain't Connecticut. And this is just a unique situation. Will, this is broken. When it came across your desk, what do you think about Danny Hurley possibly being the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers?
Well, I'm gonna take a page out of Mike King, who always loves data and information. You know, Dan Hurley is currently in a 6-year, $32 million contract. So he makes roughly around $5 million. He won 2 national championships back to back. Now, Kentucky, I think Kentucky on offer for him some sort of contract around like $20 million or something like that. So at some point, Dan Hurley is like, hey, you know, I'm worth that. What's the best way to go to a school like UConn and say, hey, you know, I think I'm going to leave. LeBron James wants to coach for him at the Lakers. What y'all checkbook looking like? You know, what y'all checkbook looking like? Because $5 million ain't enough. I might, because he could, if you think about it, he could double it. I mean, he's making $5 million. If you can reconstruct his contract, he can make $10-20 million. It's hard to turn down the Lakers. You know, that's the coveted spot. It's like turning down the Yankees or turning down the Celtics or turning down the 49ers, or the Chiefs right now if you want to play with. It's Dan Hurley's world, man. That dude can make whatever decision and make a ton of money. And again, he's at the prime of 50, so he's at the best time of making money as a coach. You know, he's still young enough to have that fire, but old enough to have that experience. So man, this guy is living a perfect storm right now. He could, you know, but there's really no wrong way to go if you think about it. So I think, my opinion, I think he's going to go with the Lakers because at the end of the day, you're working with professionals. You have the consistency of the rosters, you know, and you don't have to deal with the NIL stuff. And if he fails, he's going to be the most coveted coach coming back to the NCAA and he'd make the same money that he was making in LA. So I see him going to I see him going to the Lakers. I don't think there's much more you can do in UConn, but and UConn's buyout is only like $2 million. So it's come on. I think he's going to be in the Lakers probably by the end of this evening or maybe when this goes out. So we'll see. But I think he's going to the Lakers.
Mike, what are you thinking, sir?
I think John Calipari already gave you like the blueprint. He was at UMass he signed this huge UMass contract for $400,000 a year. And then he left to the Nets to get $3 million a year back when $3 million a year was like insane coaching money. Still kind of, considering it's the 90s, that's still pretty, you can even think back and go, that seems way, way high. It was. And then he went back to college and made huge amounts of money. So you go to the Lakers, get paid, doesn't work out, someone's going to want you, and you'll make just as much or more than you would have, and you'll be at a Kansas, a Kentucky, whatever that level program is, that's who's going to try and give you a job. You're not going to go to some nothing university. You're going to go from the Lakers. If it doesn't work out, you're going to go to the best college available. You could hang out a year or two, wait for the right job.
There's always TV, baby.
Yeah, he's going to do fine. I wouldn't want to go to the Lakers. I don't want to go to a team that's built around 39-year-old the superstar who makes all the decisions and fires the coaches. That's not for me. But are they going to pay the most? If so, that's where I'm going. It's not even a question.
Everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man. This should be interesting. Fans, on tomorrow's show, we're going to dig in deeper in terms of the college aspects of what's going on. But when we get back, WNBA is all over the news. We're going to talk about it the way we need to talk about it. We'll be right back on the iCoaches podcast.
Why should student athletes use the CKA SAVE Project academic and athletic consulting services? Over the past 15 to 20 years, colleges, universities, professional sports teams, business organizations, and others have increased their use of consulting services to improve their decision-making processes and results. Over the same time, the athletic and academic landscape has changed for high school and college student athletes as the NCAA has raised initial academic eligibility requirements for student athletes while decreasing the number of transfer restrictions. Former college student athletes have noted that they were academic and athletically unprepared for the rigors of college. Let the CKA SAVE Project's close to 30 years of academic and athletic experience help guide student athletes to increase success as we work to help student athletes achieve the goal of obtaining a college degree. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the iCoaches podcast in segment 3. Let's start off with the OCP WNBA Power Ranking. Number 1's Connecticut, despite the initial loss. Now they're everybody else. Number 2 is New York. Number 3 is Minnesota. 4 Seattle. 5 Las Vegas. 6 Atlanta. 7 Phoenix. 8 Chicago. 9 Dallas. 10 Los Angeles. 11 Indiana. And 12 Washington. Some quick notes. Seattle has made a lot of improvements. Phoenix as well. And man, the Mystics are bad. But boy, did Caitlin fill up the Capital One Arena. So goody for them. Commissioner's Cup standings. The East top 3, New York, Connecticut, and Indiana. They're doing well in the Commissioner's Cup. Look for some strange foul calls. And in the West, the top 3, Seattle, Phoenix, and Minnesota. So let's get to the stories of the week. First story of the week. Team USA announced Caitlin Clark will not be a part of the Paris Olympics. Team USA has won women's gold since 1996, and despite not having Caitlin Clark, the Americans will once again be the favorite. So whether she played, whether she didn't play, they were going to win. You guys can look up the rosters if you want to. But Will, is this a missed opportunity? What do you think? Should Caitlin have been put on the team regardless? What say you?
I've been seeing all over week, everybody is killing the Team USA, USA basketball. I'm going to throw a different kind of spin on this whole thing. She's been playing basketball straight probably the last 6 years with no really like downtime. She jumped right from the college right to the WNBA, and she's having a rough season, even regardless of her success or, the not success that she's having. I think she went to Team USA and said, please, I just need 3 months. I need whatever the month is. Can I just give it off? Can I just, mentally reset? Can I just do that? And Team USA was like, sure, why not? The WNBA will always be there to show all the Caitlin Clark will be there when you come back. We're not going to lose. We got we're not going to lose the gold. So I think this is a long kind of play for them to give her the rest to go for the rest of the NBA season without injury or without any sort of mental breakdown or issues, because she's going through a lot. It's a lot. I mean, mentally too. I mean, everybody's looking for you. And when's the last time you've been when a 2-8 or 2-9 team is being looked at every day and dissecting every move you make? It's exhausting. I think this is her chance to get her vacation. I think she's going to rest. I think she'll come back much better. This is the best long play for the WNBA. And Team USA was able to fall on the sword. Very nice of them, and take care of that. So I think there's no conspiracy. I honestly, I think she just didn't want to play. So,
All right, Mike King, I am hitting to you, sir. Hit the ball back.
There's no chance she said she didn't want to play. There's no chance. I think the WNBA strategy is let's be as stupid as possible with Caitlin Clark and get people angry so they'll talk about us. I think that's the play, and that's not the way I would go. I would go, people are watching to see her. That's now, is there anyone on the team that she should be on the team over? Not a one person. Not close. Are there probably 10 people that, based on basketball ability, at least 10, should be on the team before her? Of course. So I don't have any ill will about that. I'm just looking at it from trying to book it. How many people are going to watch now? How many would have watched? What's better for the sport? What's better for how many people made the team? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10,
12.
13, 12. What's better for the other 11? Although the 11 people that would have been on the team would have been angry at her because how dare people want to watch her and get more people watching me. But that's a whole other story about how stupid this whole year has been. Every game, 20,000 people went to see the Mystics.
The Mystics.
The 0-11 Mystics. They went from the only team in the league with worse attendance than last year to one game with Caitlin Clark. And now they're averaging like 5,000 more people per game than last year. In one game, it's only been 5 games, but still, they went from last in attendance by far to middle of the pack. One game. In the end, this is about people watching on TV and butts and seats. That's what it's about.
yeah, but do you want to? Caitlin Clark she's not getting on the floor. I'll tell you right. I'll keep it 100% with you. With this roster, she's not
with the dream team. And
Look,
Christian Laettner was on the dream team.
Yeah.
unless they go up 30 and 40, which they usually will in the early rounds. They could have trot her out there and say, go ahead and shoot all the threes you want and get out. But still, you want to have, the WNBA doesn't want to be a sideshow.
Me and Keith are in
Have
charge.
this respectability. They don't want to be this, the show and pony kind of, hey, Caitlin Clark, come on, guys, let's get him. Or what's his name? The dunker, Mac McClung. You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be, think about it like this. You go up 40, you bring in Caitlin Clark, let her shoot.
She just scored 3 last game.
Yeah, I mean, she against the worst team. But she takes. If you want to just bring her out to shoot far threes, and you know what I'm saying, like it's like I don't know. I get both sides of it.
We got in the top left corner of the TV screen. There's just the camera on Caitlin Clark on the bench.
Yeah, you get a PIP. You kids don't know about this. They need a PIP.
And we're charging $800,000 for a 30-second commercial spot for for this Team USA women's basketball thing. And everyone's winning. Everybody's winning.
Okay. In addition to that news, the media coverage of the WNBA came into the spotlight this past week. So fans, I need to give you a little bit of history about the CKA Save Project and Coach Keith Adams as a coach. I've always been close to my counterpart as a high school basketball coach in terms of the girls coach. At Pay Branch, Heather Podesta. Coach P, always close to Coach P. At Springbrook, Will saw it firsthand. Tanya Banks and I were extremely close. Hood College, same thing. For 7 years, the CKA Save Project ran a holiday basketball tournament in the DMV, the District Maryland and Northern Virginia. For 4 years, we ran an academic all-star basketball game. Every event we've run included the girls' teams. We ran a women's leadership conference when I taught entrepreneurship. We did a Dare to Be You fashion show. And from the Odd Coaches podcast perspective, from the first day, we've covered women's college basketball and the WNBA. Every week I talk to my female colleagues, but only Suzette wants to come on the show, and that's cool because there's a lot of guys I talk to that just don't want to be on the air, but speak freely to me. So these recent developments have caught my attention because we're upgrading our website. And I'm going through the history of our organization, and I'm running into a lot of things, and I've heard some kind words from former parents and coaches and media members about the work we did, which takes me to First Take. I heard Monica's voice when I was driving, and the Monica I'm talking about is Monica McNutt. And for me, she's different because I know her father, Kevin McNutt, who was one of the best high school officials there is in this area. And he refereed my first game as a summer league coach, and he's been a mentor to me. So the gist of the discussion, they were discussing Caitlin Clark when Monica McNutt called Stephen A. out for not covering women's sports sooner. And then the conversation went back and forth and back and forth. And then post show, Stephen A. Smith gave an impassioned promo about Monica McNutt and that situation. And Monica McNutt has been on media shows, Bomani Jones, etc. But I don't think she's been back on First Take. So I want to start with Mike. And again, I could be wrong, but what are your thoughts about the discussion, Mike, and the WNBA coverage in general?
So I personally think shows like First Take, the Skip Baylesses, the Stephen A. Smiths kind of, to me, are ruining sports coverage. I hate it. It's just all like, it's like the worst parts of like the Siskel and Ebert show where they were at least like going back and forth in a like a positive talking about movies way, whereas this becomes, I am the Yankee fan, so you have to be the non-Yankee fan. I'm the LeBron fan, you have to be the LeBron hater. It's all nonsense, it's all fake, it's all garbage. But in this case, he's 100% right. Like, he's got a TV show on ESPN. He has bosses telling him what to do and what to say. It's about ratings. It's about having people watch the show. If the WNBA is not a topic that people at that time wanted to hear about, he's not like, it's not something that if he does it, it's not something that he's not gonna have a show. He's not gonna have his platform. I wish there was more hockey coverage. I know why there's not hockey coverage. I care about hockey. I'm a huge hockey fan. If they talk about hockey, I would be like, that's weird. That's a bad business decision. And it's not like, it doesn't offend me that they're not talking about hockey. I get it. If there were more hockey fans, then they would talk about hockey. Fun fact, if we showed Caitlin Clark more, we could grow the game, and then WNBA becomes a topic. And what's happening this year? It's a topic. Like, should it have existed before? Watch the show. Watch. Did you go to any WNBA games? No. Then what are we complaining about? Did you watch any WNBA games? No. Then what are we complaining about? Watch the games. I watch hockey games. If more people did, then it would be on the show. But they don't, so it's not. This is just, again, we talked about data before. This is data. Like, they make all their decisions based on data. If talking about the WNBA 2 years ago got them more money, you think ESPN's turning that down?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Cotton Man, what are your thoughts? And yes, Kevin McNutt ref some of your games, sir.
Hey, just like Mike said, it's popularity, and it's not that we dislike or we're ignoring or anything like that, because in the past years, we have been honoring all of the players. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to say, oh, this person here as a totality, but we've given our roses to the great players. It reminds me of like fantasy football. Like 10 years ago, nobody cared about fantasy football. Nobody did. Now it's a big thing. ESPN even has a show dedicated to fantasy football. It's a big thing. Again, the first year that it happens, this is the first year that the WNBA is a big show. Just enjoy it. It's going to get bigger. It's going to get better. People are going to talk about it. You got to bring in the casual fan. The casual fan is not going to watch the WNBA. The casual fan is going to watch whatever's on being told. So I'm not saying that McNutt is wrong. I'm not saying that Stephen A. is wrong. I'm saying that they have been looking at a small fracture of the big picture that they should be. And just to say the last thing, I mean, Mike King said it perfectly. I don't really have to kind of elaborate on it, but Stephen A. said, and you quoted Coach, I think he said, who talks more about the WNBA? Odd Coaches podcast talk about it more than y'all. Don't play no games with me because I watch the show. We watch more about you, and we watch more about college women's basketball as well. So But I think what this does is this is what's going to happen when the sport gets more popular. You're going to get those arguments. You're going to get those, and don't get me wrong, down the line, you're going to get those salary arguments again. And you're going to get those, well, how come so-and-so is making $15 million a year and so-and-so is making, 500,000 or $1 million? Those things are going to happen. The best thing we need to do is they're going to happen, anticipate them, and prepare for ourselves to have educated conversations about those topics and issues. Don't come in there yelling and talking about, well, nobody watching this and watching that. Come with facts, come with data. Say, look, 10 years ago, 5,000 people were doing this. 10 years ago, now 100,000 people are doing this. We got eyes. So it's good to have that fire. It's good that they're trying to bring in these WNBA basketball conversations into the space. It's an interesting take, and I think Ms. McNutt, I think she should be brought back. I think her and Stephen A. need to be talking to WNBA constantly. I think they have a great rapport, even though there may be a little kind of anxiety, or not anxiety, but they got some smoke around between them. But I think that's a good back and forth banter. I'd like to see more of it, even if it's about just WNBA. But yeah, I agree with Mike King says. It's just
All right. So to close, fans, when I ran holiday tournaments and things like that, I did ask my female counterparts, because the school system that I worked in, and I was an athletic department director in, sometimes they would put the girls' games on last just out of some equity piece that nobody asked them to do. So I often asked, is it okay if we alternate games? So I've always done girls first, boys second, because the girls coaches and players always said, I'd rather have a crowd for the end of my game than people clearing out before the start of my game. And that's kind of how I feel about this argument. As we say in wrestling, I don't care who wins or loses as long as there's a butt every 19 inches. And if Caitlin Clark is going to bring eyeballs to the product, if Caitlin Clark is going to put butts in the seat, then I'm going to find a place for her, because everybody needs a shooter. And if one person's mad because they're over-deserving, I have lived in places. I have worked for people who have overlooked all of my credentials and picked somebody else, and I have to live with it. That's called life, and that's just business, and I don't take any of that personally. So on behalf of our Cavalcade of Stars, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the iCoaches podcast, and we will see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
The iCoaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The iCoaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the iCoaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the iCoaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at iCoaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the iCoaches podcast.